It's a big day at the Extraordinary Talent Academy, and while everyone else is stressing over their future, Ning Feng is glued to his phone. He's playing like crazy and asking when his opponents will give up. Is he someone extraordinary in real life? Well, that's debatable. This walking fiasco keeps playing, saying it's impossible for him to lose with such an advantage. But then this lady slaps him right in the face, and our guy. What the hell's going on? What just happened? Getting into the mood. This Nation and he himself are very angry, screaming and shouting at this idiot. He's asking what the hell you're doing, just as the awakening exam is about to start. It's like saying, "Son, get ready instead of playing games." Ning Feng just grins like an idiot and asks if work and pleasure make a great pair. Besides, he's already 18. It awakens an ordinary 2-star class at most. Venkui awakened a 5-star class at 16, so why would he join? The girl can carry it after all. The girl grabs him by the collar and says, "No way." The other candidates around them were whispering about Wenkui being the school goddess, praising your outstanding performance in special education. More students gather, watching in awe at how he awakened a 5-star class at just 16 years old. The district was waiting for a genius like him, but everyone wonders who that pathetic guy next to him is. One of the candidates reveals that he is Ning Feng. About to turn 18 and still haven't achieved a damn thing, the school's certified loser. Venkui pulls him by the ear and starts dragging him toward the exam entrance. The other candidates are annoyed that someone like her hangs out with this waste of space. This world is called Blue Star, a place where gaming and reality intertwine. At age 16, everyone awakens extraordinary talents for a chance to become an adventurer. This is the National Adventurer Awakening Exam at the city's number 7 high school. A proctor addresses the second-grade students, explaining the exam rules before shouting that the next awakened person could be one of them. Feeling down after getting beaten by Venkui, Ning Feng wonders why the girl is making such a big fuse. This is her 3rd time taking this damn exam. Not a rookie anymore. In the exam section, Teacher C calls the students to the awakening test area. Students who have successfully awakened can take their basic equipment and prepare for the practical exam. While candidates chat excitedly about their dream classes, Ning Feng waits bored until the proctor calls for the next one, 3rd-year student Ning Feng. He steps forward, and everyone starts laughing. The teacher greets him with a smile, telling him not to worry and to stay calm. In the test area, he wants him to put his hands on the crystal and clear his mind. He does it too, but nothing happens. He wonders if he'll mess up again this time, but then something strange happens. The crystal starts responding, and everyone is amazed. The teacher thinks to himself that if the stone reacted, it's definitely a class awakening and that blue light means the mage classes. They explain that upon awakening, you'll automatically learn starting skills and see how many stars your class receives. Feng is surprised when the system tells him that he awakened an S rank and learned the mud swamp technique. The teacher asks which ability she awakened. But ours has no sound. The woman calls out to him again, and he turns around, not knowing what to say. She thinks her talent is as useless as she is. He tells her to hand over the equipment, change her clothes, and move on to the next stage. But this is where things change, folks. Feng starts thinking about system modifications. When you woke up, the system detected that awakening was complete and conditions for activation were met. More notifications arrived, stating the system was successfully activated and I gained passive skills, Dark Origin and Mysterious Gift. Dark Origin means no backlash damage from dark powers when using curses, and being exempt from costs when using forbidden techniques. The Mysterious Gift lets him release forbidden spells once a week, and without paying any price. But he's the only one who can see these things. It seems he wonders why the dark power, the most evil thing on earth, is within him and how the mystery of the gift relates to him. Then another notification appears saying the mud swamp technique detected something, and the transformation will begin. Before he even had a chance to wonder what this conversion was all about, it was already over. The system says the conversion is complete. The mud swamp technique turned into a forbidden curse and became the cursed earth shield. Feng is confused because all this talk of darkening and forbidden curses sounds ominous. Especially with the practical exam coming up. The teacher is explaining on the portal. 50 people are forming a group to face monsters in Shelter 5 to get used to their newly awakened abilities. No teaming up, no attacking each other. The drone is watching everything. Assuring them no one will see, he wants everyone to quickly check their skills. Fong is looking at his abilities. Active Earth Shield, a cursed spell, can summon a dark power from another world to create a barrier that crushes any approaching enemy. She thinks the cursed spell sounds dangerous, and if it's something evil, she'll be in trouble if anyone finds out. Everyone's entering the portal. People are fighting monsters in the test area, and our boy is being useless and cowering behind a bush again. He wanted to use his powers but remembered the drones were watching. So he can't use them thoughtlessly. The problem is, there's no other attack force. That's why he has to hide and wait. One of the drones is flying right over Fong. Captain Zhu gets angry when he sees the footage in the surveillance room. While others are killing monsters to level up, what the hell is that guy doing? The woman politely says the youth wakes up late, his health is poor, and his skills are wasted, making him unfit for individual combat. This makes the captain even more annoyed. He says they shouldn't have let trash like him join in the first place. He's just a one-star loser and will never be a real adventurer. Then someone comes up and asks him to look at something. He turns around and asks, "What's going on?" The guy with glasses is sweating, says he's not sure what happened, but one of the drones was attacked and the feed cut out. Worse yet, pointing at the radar, he says a power surge well above average was detected. In the bunker, Captain Drew shouts, ordering someone to check where the drone crashed. A young man shivers, asking how there could be such powerful monsters in a training area. In front of him is a giant goblin that looks like Wolverine. This goblin is calling on his comrades to rise up and no longer be slaves. He orders them to obey his commands. As he's screaming, a drone approaches, but the goblin spots it instantly, attacks, and tears it to pieces. Debris rains down on the forest, and a piece falls right on Fong's head. While wondering why a drone fell on his head, he notices the lead goblin and others surrounding him. The goblin scout chuckles with a sly look and says there's a bug hiding there. He orders the attack without wasting any time. Our boy is thinking, why are there so many green bastards here? Then he remembers the drone leaving. That means he can use all his power. And this is a great chance to test if forbidden magic is real. He's raising his finger. The moment he does this, an incredible energy radiates from his body. It scares the monsters and worries the goblin leader. Just then, several terrifying creatures rise from the ground. In the observation room, Four Eyes, Captain Driva reports that all broadcasts are cut and there's a sudden surge of dark energy in the bunker. It's suspected that a king-class or higher magical beast has appeared. Driva orders immediate reinforcements and civilian evacuation. This situation terrifies Teacher Chia. How could a king-level monster capable of destroying entire cities appear on the day of the exam? Back to the battle, the goblin leader is terrified of what he sees. As the hero is consumed by that talent, a strange dark power envelopes him, allowing creatures to tear the goblins apart. Funk looks at his hands and thinks, so this is how the cursed magic works. He killed almost all the goblins instantly, and earned a ton of experience points. And now only that big bastard is left alive. And things aren't looking good for him at all. The aura emanating from Feng's magic has left him dazed. It just stands there, wondering how a human obtained the power of darkness. He tries to escape, but he feels his movements slowing down significantly. Power reaches him too late. And she's screaming, begging him not to come closer. The next moment, it turns into 6,000 experience points. Feng's status window opens, showing he's officially changed to the mage class. Thanks to the Little Monster Massacre, he jumped from level 1 to level 10. Right now he has 0 health, 8 strength, 8 agility, 20 spirit, and 12 resistance. Our boy is over the moon because he leveled up so easily. In past practical exams, people could jump at most 1 or 2 levels. But reality slaps that stupid face of yours. The experience points from ordinary monsters were terrible. And he only leveled up this much thanks to that giant goblin. While still trying to grasp his luck, he wonders what the hell an elite monster is doing in the testing area. Did someone make a big mistake? While thinking about this disaster, different objects begin to rain from the sky. Surprised, he realizes these are treasures dropped from an elite monster. Even better, all this equipment is legendary quality. Looking at the Pioneer badge, he finds it odd because he's never seen equipment that permanently buffs you before. This orange quality item increases agility by 10 points permanently. Another drop, the Assassin's Shadow Claw, is also orange quality, but it requires level 20 to use. It gives 13 extra strength, 16 agility, 10% attack speed, 5% crit rate, and 10% combo chance. Just enough power to make him less pathetic. Funk's excited for the loot, even if he can't use the claw yet. But hey, he can sell these goods for serious money. Now confident, Funk believes he can finally face tougher monsters and start escaping his loser status. Just as he's planning his rise from rock bottom, the proctors announce that all students must stop the test immediately and use their teleportation scrolls to exit. Looking more closely, he notices something that makes his blood run cold. Funk turns in every direction and notices that everything around him looks like a battlefield. Those massive holes scattered everywhere, yes, they're the work of her dark magic, and it's terrifyingly creepy. The proctors make another announcement, and he immediately uses a teleport scroll, thinking it's better to bolt before anyone realizes what's happening. Students are returning one by one. A supervisor tells them to leave the area and go home immediately. As the participants return, the captain thinks seriously about what's going on. He knows even with all possible reinforcements, they can't take down that king-class monster, and given the situation, support might not even arrive in time. But before there's even a chance to think about it, something even crazier happens. The dark energy source suddenly vanishes. That makes him extremely suspicious. Did the monster get away? He keeps receiving orders over his radio, saying things are out of hand and no one should panic. Everyone else should stay away from the panic and lock down the school. Only one exit should be left for a quick escape. Funk comes over and calls the teacher. The woman is sweating like crazy from stress and asks if she's okay. Funk, who ignores the chaos, says he's fine, but the woman shouts for him to go home immediately. The school's temporarily closed, and you shouldn't return unless absolutely necessary. Away from school, Funk and Van Yu are talking. Van Yu tells her the teacher looks really strange, as if they encountered something deadly. Word is an unknown energy was found in the school and everything's been locked down. This makes Fong wonder if that unknown energy has anything to do with the elite monster battle. Feeling upset, he's thinking about school closing just when he had the upper hand. Van Yu is worried about her, thinking all this has shaken her deeply. The girl tries to cheer him up, saying defensive magic can keep him alive but won't do much for his training alone. It says he'll be joining his team starting tomorrow. Ours tries to act tough, says no thanks, and tells him not to worry because he can train on his own. With a stupid look on his face, he's imagining how cool he'll look with his new power. But he also knows that because of his forbidden dark magic, he can't let anyone find out. Van Yu looks at him and thinks, what the heck happened to this guy? He says he won't take no for an answer from her. They'll be waiting at the west gate tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. After saying this, he just walks away. It just leaves ours talking to themselves. Fong thinks this woman is acting like she's his boss. Because of this patronizing attitude, she's thinking about faking being sick. Man, look at that face, I'm dying. But he gives up right away. If he makes up an excuse and the girl catches on, he knows she'll beat him black and blue. Just as he thinks about this, an idea comes to mind, but he's not sure if it'll work. Fong Yuan decides to go to the Chong trading house. Looking at the massive building, he remembers that some weapons are naturally gifted. He can get equipment with reflection magic and act like an ordinary mage. Fong enters the shop, hoping the system won't turn the equipment's innate abilities into a curse. He can also sell the loot dropped by the monsters he kills. A salesperson walks up to you and asks how they can help. They say they want to buy equipment with reflection magic. It could be a weapon, clothes, or an accessory. The woman asks if he's a newly awakened student and explains that low-level spells aren't actually worth buying. Still, he adds that they have higher-level equipment more suitable for training and can show her some options. Ours says there's no need because he only needs something temporary. The equipment level doesn't need to be very high. The woman makes the most classic move after this, thinking our boy is broke. He calls the new intern to help her and leaves, saying he doesn't want to deal with a broke brat after all that trouble. This new girl has that bright smile, and none of that annoyance the other woman had. He asks our boy if he needs anything, and he tells him what he's looking for. The girl takes him to the items, and they start trying them on. First, an iron arm that got him excited, then a heavy hammer he couldn't even lift off the ground. Fawn tries on a ring and decides on this one. The intern asks if she's happy with the ring. She laughs, says it's perfect, and thanks him for the help. Meanwhile, Fawn asks if it's possible to sell the items he got from hunting monsters. The girl says yes, it's possible, and takes him to the relevant department. They walk in, and the shop owner is sitting there with a face you just love to punch. He looks at you with that exact expression, even though you've done nothing wrong. The salesgirl says Fawn wants to sell some items. Our guy is showing his claws and asking for help, waiting for her to check the item and its value. Wang takes the claws and is left in shock. This is an orange tier weapon. It focuses on speed and doesn't require a high level. This makes it perfect for beginners. Plus, it has 3 gem slots, so custom adjustments can be made for more personal effects. One says it's a good piece and several clients in his guild will be interested. He's asking if Fong has a specific price in mind. Fong just says the higher, the better. The expert asks Fong to sit down, saying he'll be meeting with potential buyers. And she wants Mrs. Young to take care of it. Then he calls a wealthy man named Bacon and tells him about the equipment. While our boy is sipping tea and relaxing in the waiting room, the expert returns with the good news that the equipment has been sold. And the buyer is ready to pay exactly 50,000 crystals. After the 8% transaction fee is deducted, you'll receive 46,000 crystals. This figure leaves Fong and Yang speechless. Both of them jump up in shock at the news. One says they can handle the paperwork right there, and once everything's set, the crystal transfer will be fast. Fong wants the process done quickly and asks to check out more equipment. While final preparations are being made, staff in the other section are gossiping, and a girl asks the one who brushed Fong off. "Don't you like handsome men? Why did you ignore him?" She says she likes handsome guys with money and power, and that a guy like him doesn't even deserve to be in the same room as her. Some time passes, and we see the staff in the distance notice Fong's return. They're asking if this was the customer you didn't want to help. The woman with her hair tied back says she heard the young man sold a piece of equipment for 50,000 crystals. The black-haired one says in shock that this amount is equal to 3 months of his salary. Why didn't I just help her? And starts squirming in regret. Outside, Ms. Yang tells Fog to come straight to her next time and introduces herself with a smile. He says his name is Yangshin. The next day, Fong goes to meet Wan Yu. He feels a bit more confident now that he's discovered the enchantments on his gear won't trigger the system. When he arrives, Wan Yu and his big guild are already there. The girl introduces him to the ones around, but the mage and the shield warrior are staring him down. Confused by these looks, our guy wonders if he might actually owe them money. Then Chao Chong swaggers in and casually asks Wan Yu if he's reached his second transformation. Fawn learns that a promotion occurs every 30 levels. So this guy is probably around level 60. Desperate to show off, Chong pulls out an incredibly rare advanced agility potion that's worth more than most people's lives. Turns out his father used his influence and spent a fortune just to get that thing. But Van Yu refuses instantly and says take this back. The girl doesn't need this, she already has much more important priorities. Chang's in total shock, trying to pressure her about university registration and stuff. But when the girl ignores him, the guy suddenly fixes his eyes on Fong and asks the girl why she's wasting time with such trash. At that moment, Wan Yu's entire vibe changes. He looks at the boy and tells him to watch his mouth. But since that idiot doesn't listen, he keeps being disrespectful to our boy. Fong tries to calm down that idiot, saying they need to leave now. But this scumbag won't listen. Fong says he can barely even afford a simple potion bottle. Fong mocks Xiao Chong, telling him to stop showing off for a potion that only adds 3 measly perks. This remark infuriates Xiao Chong, who asks how Fong dares to speak to him like that. Just then, a shielded warrior interjected, saying Xiao Chong was speaking too loudly. And Fong asks if you have anything stronger. Chong says with a grin. If Fong proves he has such an item, Xiao Chong will kneel down right then and there. But if he can't prove it, Feng will have to kowtow. Right then, Feng takes out the item and tells Xiao Chong to get ready. Then he turns to Vanya and says, "Take this, I was going to give it to you anyway." The girl looks in amazement at the Pioneer emblem that permanently increases stats. Everyone there is amazed. They've never seen anything like it in their lives. They can't believe how an item that permanently increases stats by more than 10 could even exist. They think this is fake. Feng, on the other hand, is quite calm. It says try and see to find out if it's fake or real. The girl looks at the item and hesitates, unsure whether to take it or not. But the boy comforts her and tells her not to worry. Because he found it at home, and it was meant to be his. Then the girl uses the item and says its stats have really increased. Meanwhile, the shielded warrior and Xiao Chong can't believe their eyes. This broke brat just whipped out a piece of gear more valuable than their monthly hunger and slammed it on the table. It implies that Chong Feng probably stole this. Because a loser like him could never afford something this expensive. She says Feng had better keep his promise right away. Xiao Chong refuses, but Wan Yu asks if he's not a man. Or will you back down like a coward, he adds. Chong looks around for help, but everyone's just giving him dirty looks. That look says you made a bet, now cough up the money. Then the guy starts to kneel down. Feng Vania says it is time to go. On the way, the girl tries to apologize. But Feng wants her to stop interrupting. Because their relationship didn't need that kind of lovey-dovey stuff. He says there's really no need for the girl to come with him. He'd prefer her to focus on her second transformation and get into a top university instead. Because he can't train effectively with the girl around, and he has dark magic secrets to keep. Worried about Feng, the girl hands him a book, hoping he won't lose heart. She says it's for him. Not fully understanding what happened, Feng asks if this is a skill book. The girl agrees and says he should learn those skills when he reaches the right level. Feng is asking if these are all purple quality. By the looks of them, they're all firebenders. The girl says these can't even come close to the value of the items Feng gave her. Feng smiles, closes the book, and indicates his acceptance. The scene shifts to a damn dungeon where he's fighting zombies. And our boy is doing what he does best. So he's being useless. Since they're already level 10, they think the monsters here don't give much EXP. But he can't tell the girl this, of course. Right after that, she gets a call from one of the former staff. The pink-haired girl says they've heard news that a fallen dark wizard is about to appear. He says it's a rare opportunity and asks if you'll join. Xiao Chong notices Sunan talking to Wan Yu and insists on helping them out. Otherwise, how are they supposed to beat that huge monster? He also adds that the fallen dark mage can drop rare items from mages, which is super important for him. Su Wan Yu is trying to brush it off so she doesn't hear all this nonsense. Wan Yu thinks for a moment and looks at Feng. Feng tells him to go, and assures that everything is fine. After all, they're all in the same dungeon and the girl can continue her training later. The girl takes a deep breath and says okay, but tells Feng to go to the safe zone and wait for her. Feng smiles and immediately accepts. He's heading toward the girl group. And this was the moment the jackal had been waiting for. Now that you're alone. He was about to head deep into the dungeon, and he was already prepared. He had learned 2 new skills. In any case, they can all be used once for free. So the more curses you have, the better. The system is whispering to the guy. His mysterious passive gift will reportedly let him unleash forbidden spells once a week. Feng smugly says that at his current level, without spending anything, he only has 3 skill slots. And then there are those skill books that only work after level 15. Meanwhile, in another corner of this damn dungeon, another group was busy slapping monsters down. When one said they had to gut everything in their path to reach the goal, the other said watch out, the difficulty level is through the roof and the creatures inside are lethal. Just as he says this, a massive fireball blazes right past them. The nun is asking if there's another team that arrived before us. Tank is just standing there like an idiot, wondering how the hell this happened. That's exactly when the penny drops. These are Wan Yu and Xiao Chong from the Lion Guild. They're known as rising talents even on a national level. They're truly living up to their reputation on the battlefield. That bastard Xiao Chong is shouting that the boss is definitely his, and he's asking those losers if they really think they can compete with him. Sue asks if he noticed Wang Yunin getting even stronger this time. And he certainly did. Especially since it boosts agility by 10 points. Meanwhile, a portal begins to form in the main tower of this damn dungeon. Feng, laughing, says this. It looks like this ability isn't just a high-level magic cancellation field, but also a teleportation gimmick. At that moment, a dark aura begins to gather intensely in the area. And the dungeon boss, the fallen Necromancer, emerges from the darkness. And this total idiot Feng just smirks and says, "Hey buddy, you're late." Turns out the Necromancer wasn't in the mood for jokes. So he summons a massive rock and hurls it at our boy. His feelings are hurt, of course. Because how dare an adventurer as ugly as him come here all alone? As he says this, Feng uses the void path to emerge from the portal right behind the Necromancer. He says he doesn't want to share the loot with anyone else. Standing face to face with that immortal bastard, he uses his meteor shower skill, summoning a bunch of space rocks to finish the job for him. It doesn't just kill the necromancy. It also levels the tower and kills all the monsters around it. Now, as he stands there with a stupid grin, the system is rattling off rewards for the monster genocide he committed. This little bastard grabbed 50,000 EXP and shot up to level 30 instantly. Feng starts roaming around to gather the loot. Shiny stones, gems, and skill books are scattered everywhere. Skill books aren't just for mages, but they're still worth enough to make you feel rich. Kurata's items grant more magic damage and lifesteal, which is a broken trait enough to scare any healer. He also finds a power-boosting Necromancer necklace. This thing boosts spirit and curse resistance while providing immunity to poison. The icing on the cake is the Necromancer emblem. This consumable removes 3 HP but grants 15 spirit points forever. Feng shrugs and uses it immediately. Because who cares about HP when you can show off with more souls? The system then drops a surprise, saying a hidden item called the Necromancer emblem has been detected. With this, Feng can unlock rare secret classes like Necromancer, or become a mage, even a mage of all elements. Since these classes are usually so rare, he's over the moon with joy. Our guy isn't even thinking about what to choose, Tungate Tange. And he picks the Master of all elements and says, "This is how real men do it." Real men, huh? Come on now. Real men fight hand to hand. When this idiot gets overexcited, his dark magic leaks out and causes a huge scene around the dungeon. And it's making things difficult for the Vanyun Guild. Cha-Chung is going crazy because his boss wanted to cut it himself. But Vanya says she'd better shut up if she doesn't want everyone roasted alive. Vanu immediately texts Feng and tells him to leave. But he's already slipped away to the transformation hall. The place is almost empty, and when he turns around, a woman greets him and asks if he's there for the transformation mission. He says yes, and as the woman takes his information, she secretly judges him for being a wizard at his age. Since he's 18, she directs him to the wizards section and tells him to call out if he needs anything. As Feng politely says thanks, he's met by Captain Joey, whose face clearly screams bad news. Joe explains that the sinister cemetery was devastated and the energy level could be even worse than a king threat. The woman raises an eyebrow and asks if this is the second threat to the king in the last 2 days. Joe nods and says he was sent by his superiors to request that only the shadow take action. In the transformation room, the system throws 2 options in front of Feng. First is the Necromancer's first job advancement quest. The quest item, the Blood King's Robe. You need to enter the Ghost Realm's illusion labyrinth and seize it. The deadline is 3 days. Difficulty level A. The second option is the Universal God of Magic's first transformation quest. The prerequisite is to enter the Ghost Realm's Shining Sun Temple and seize the Holy Emblem. The time is still 3 days, but the difficulty spikes to S rank. Feng asks why there are 2 options and realizes that the All-Element Mage is just a preliminary role. Nonetheless, he decides to accept. After choosing his mission, he attempts to leave. On his way down, he sees he's taken an S-rank quest. Well, that's exactly what you'd expect from a hidden class. Feng saying goodbye to the girl. He realizes she isn't the woman who just helped him. Meanwhile, in that damn dungeon, someone is analyzing all that dark energy. He says it's his first time seeing one from the shadows and comments on how different their uniforms are from what he knows. Captain Joe tells him to shut up. Because that organization's existence is a secret. Only Shadow members have a secret class that allows them to use dark power. And he begins to explain how this darkness makes them perfect for special missions. It was Jing who guided this person to choose the Fenji transformation mission. But he begins to feel something strange inside, saying the dark power is overwhelming. Even though the energy is largely dissipated, it still affects it. Jing explains that they found no clues about the duo. Looks like the person in charge vanished into thin air after making a mess of things. And this makes it impossible to figure out what their goals are. Worried about the situation, Captain Joe says regular reports of anomalies in some secret areas may signal an upcoming crisis. Ask if they have any connection to this incident. The woman says it's hard to be certain, but she'll consult her superiors and request reinforcements. Joe asks if the county is concerned about this. It reminds them that they're considering sending the famous lone hurricane from the shadows. The guy with glasses approaches and asks if a monster caused the damage, or if there's another possibility. Jing cuts him off. Or she wants to know if you're implying the reason could be a mutant like himself. Four Eyes' tone changes instantly, and he apologizes, saying he didn't mean it that way. The woman explains that the threat levels there have long since exceeded king level. The human body cannot withstand controlling such a massive dark power. Then he asks if that abnormally strong monster hiding in the city could bring such a disaster upon us again at any moment. She doesn't beat around the bush. He just nods and says it's possible. That's why they need to find that scumbag as soon as possible. Meanwhile, that idiot is just chilling in his room, staring outside. She says the darkness is strangely peaceful. Now that he's reached level 30 and gained 4 more skill slots, he can finally use the 2 books Juan gave him. A system message appears. It reports an automatic fusion detection between the mysterious shield and the dirty earth crust. He gained a new passive talent called Dirty Earth Defense. The system says your new passive triggers automatically when attacked and absorbs 100% of damage. The system is beeping again, this time a meteor shower merging with a dirty crust. As a result, another passive skill unlocks, Elemental Earth Mastery, which makes all Earth spells hit 20% harder. Looking at his skills, he sees 4 empty slots, so he decides to buy more books from the Yuanqing trade market. He goes out when morning comes. He bumps into that previous receptionist girl in the market. The girl greets her with a fake smile and says Mrs. Yang sure is busy, so she'll be the one assisting her. Feng says no thanks, he'll look into it himself. The girl's going crazy, telling him he's not a man just because he rejected her charm. As the girl follows, insisting she can still help, Shin suddenly appears, drenched in sweat and gasping for air. She explains she just had lunch, but her colleague mentioned Feng was here. Feng apologizes and promises her dinner later to make it up to her. Later in Feng's office, Feng puts 2 books on the table and says he wants to buy mage skills. Feng agrees and Shine asks him to lead the way. Feng is finding Fenji more and more interesting. Last time he got an orange weapon, now he's getting purple skill books. So he decides that Feng might be someone worth investigating. Feng and Shin go out to dinner that night. When Feng tried to pay the bill, our girl was already 2 steps ahead of him. He already settled the bill. Feng feels awkward because he promised to treat her, but she says it was her idea to invite him. She smiles, says it's a secret, gets in a taxi, and leaves. When the driver asks where to, she tells him State Hospital number 2. She's thinking about her sick father and feels relieved that, thanks to Feng, she can finally pay the bills. Right then, the driver crashes into something. A claw bursts from the man's chest, a portal tears open above, and monsters start pouring out. Shin jumps from the car, hits the ground hard, and looks up. He can't make sense of how monsters are appearing inside the safe zone. Shin freezes when he feels a monster breathing behind him. Another figure emerges from the portal, glowing with crazy energy and grinning in a way that screams nothing good is about to happen. The girl fires a weak attack, it explodes, but only serves to make the monster even angrier. He sighs because he's a level 1-star mage. The monster attacks, and just when he thinks it's all over, Joe drops in and blows the creature's head off. He checks if the girl can move and tells her to hide. Joe looks around and sees the rot has spread everywhere. He mutters that the hidden realm is leaking into reality, and ordinary 1-star people will be wiped out instantly. He remembers the four-eyed nerd's warning about a secret monster that could destroy everything. Right then, a giant hand comes down from above. Joe breaks free and comes face to face with a spooky character who calls himself the Guardian of Dark Power. Joe's never heard of him and frankly doesn't care, because survival is a bigger problem right now. He swings his sword, but a punch sends him flying to the other end of the arena. The guard taunts him, saying these lands make him stronger. He slams Joey onto the ground again, and then there's blood everywhere. But then a voice from her amulet tells her she's a weak fool drowning in her own pride. He panics and apologizes. A rift opens above its head, and a disgruntled, hollow-looking creature emerges. This bastard wants him to kneel and sacrifice the whole city for his dominance. That's the exact moment our boy steps onto the scene. He looks confused, like he just stepped out of the bathroom and missed the whole apocalypse. A monster spots him and charges, but Foam uses his Earth Spike ability to finish it instantly. Violet's bragging that the talented new weapon was worth the money. Across the room, that scumbag drops Joey, turns to Foam, and says he's the last bug left to deal with. He attacks, but he's shocked when Foam blocks him with a strange dark energy. The entity above wonders, marveling at the terrifying aura emanating from Foam. He says our boy's aura is even stronger than death itself. Foam narrows his eyes and blasts the shell off that bastard's arm. The creature begs its leader for help, but the leader doesn't even care. She tells him to deal with his own problems. Then he drifts back into the portal, dragging his monsters with him, until the rift finally closes. So the man lies on the ground, saying his strength is fading fast. Foam sees him, and that evil smirk appears on his face. He figures out the guy is one of those shadow class mutants. They start strong, but once their shadow shield is gone, they snap pretty quickly. Foam is in no mood to babysit, so he uses Earth's Spike to finish it. He mutters that the shadow freaks are annoying. Now he needs to gather all that shiny loot before someone else snacks it. Meanwhile, across town, Jing and his assistant are on a post-apocalyptic cleanup tour. His assistant says, "Hey, I've got great news, the monsters bolted and the reality glitches are gone." But Jinjin's detective brain is working overtime. He wonders why these glitches keep appearing at random. What is the enemy's real goal? Looks like most of the city is in good shape. Except for the south side where Captain Joe's team officially got trashed, Jing decides to go check it out. We run into Duan, that mysterious guy examining the guard's body at the scene. The guy's thinking, holy cow. This body has been picked clean. Someone's already looted everything. Then Jing appears and shouts, "Freeze! Who the hell are you?" Duan, just calm down, sister. He gets into character and marks his identity. Turns out the man was from the Cloud Realm. You know, from that underground fighting organization. Jing was surprised and asked, "Wait a minute, aren't you those mysterious ninja types? What are you doing here in broad daylight?" Duan points to the body on the ground and says the guy used to be one of their own. But he acted treacherously. He helped monsters invade through reality glitches and nearly caused everyone to kick the bucket. Jing asks if the invasion at least stopped after you killed him, Duan. "Jig, it's not working," he says. Plus, they don't even know who finished the job. Apparently, this creature is a master of hide-and-seek. It escaped whenever he tried to hunt it. But the strange thing is, even Captain Joe, despite being over level 90 on the power scale, was getting trashed. Someone taking out their old partner gives them both pause. Is there a secret big boss hiding in the city? Back at Fankin's place, our boy is checking out the loot that dropped from that scumbag. It dropped 2 pieces of orange armor. Eternal Radiance breastplate and pants. Both require level 120. Fank thinks to himself, how strange, the guards weren't using these. Their level probably wasn't high enough. If it were enough, I'd have to use forbidden techniques to win. But this is exactly where things get creepy. There's a mysterious necklace with no quality rank and unknown properties. Fank's playing with the necklace, wondering if some ancient god is napping inside. But he has no idea. Something is watching him through that necklace. The scene changes. Back elsewhere, the glitch entity is literally having a panic attack. I barely escaped, shouting that I closed the rift at the last second. The creature is traumatized while watching Foam through the necklace. He's terrified our boy might feel him. The entity literally cuts all ties and starts sweating bullets. Fankin's trying to figure out how he noticed it. The next day at the hospital, Captain Joe tells Jing about this mysterious young fighter. The guy who saves everyone, you know. Looks like the enemy bailed through the corruption portal the moment they saw this guy. Jing thinks this mysterious person could be as powerful as he is. And that's confusing everyone. If he's so powerful, why couldn't he catch the creature? Then the guy with glasses drops his theory. What if this mysterious fighter is also a mutant? Because there were traces of dark power on the battlefield. Joe objects immediately. Impossible, you're overthinking it, he says. But Jing is sitting there thinking. What if it really is? Meanwhile, elsewhere, our boy goes to the guards and says he wants to do the job change quest. Feng enters the place that should be the Temple of Radiance. He looks around and thinks to himself, am I in the right place, man? Meanwhile, Dogen is watching her from the shadows. Luo Feng had previously shown up at the market asking for 4-star fighter armor sets. Wang thinks to himself, what a coincidence. We just got a call from someone selling 4-star chest armor and pants. Dogen gets serious and asks where the seller is. Wang says the seller went to the neighboring city. You can see the gears turning in nature's mind. This fits exactly what he's looking for. Probably their master's legacy equipment. He's offering money for information on the guy's whereabouts, which makes Wang break a sweat. Wang's certain those two are working together. By the time Wang returns with the details, Dogen has already bolted. Panicking, Wang starts telling the receptionist about Feng's past. Poor orphan kid, parents dead, just an ordinary star rank, basically good for nothing. And the woman says, wait a second. And I thought it was something impressive. Turns out he was just an ordinary guy. Wang's starting to come up with theories now. How does a penniless, 1-star brat find 4-star equipment? Even if he's friends with the Wang group's daughter, they didn't help him much. The receptionist begins to imagine Doga beating Feng black and blue. After all, a 4-star fighter could crush everyone in the entire province. Back to the present, Dogen is still watching Feng and thinking. Even masters perish, so how did this brat repel the corruption invasion? Feng is sure that either the master has his equipment, or someone powerful is backing him. Feng finally arrives at the temple. And Dogen watches her change her clothes. He hopes to gauge his power level by looking at his equipment. But our boy wears regular student clothes, you know. Dogen is surprised. Is this some kind of disguise? Is he using this to blend into the crowd? Then Dogen uses his mental tracking ability to basically plant a tracker on Feng without him knowing. Inside the temple, a monster tries to attack Feng and fires an energy blast at him. But our boy just casually blocks the attack. Our boy blocks the attack. Our boy blocks the attack. And without even taking his hands out of his pockets. Watching Dogen, he's like, what was that? Does this guy have like an auto-defense mod or something? Then things get even weirder. The monsters are starting to flee from Feng. Nature is confused. Is this guy normal? Feng stands before a massive statue. And this statue was supposed to be the dungeon boss. But when he feels Feng's aura, the guy doesn't even flinch. He thinks to himself, I'm a statue, just move on, buddy. I'm a statue, even Dogen can't figure out why the statue isn't moving. Feng probably thinks he's not the mission guide and just walks away. Then the real boss shows up. A 6-winged angel comes flying. With one look at Feng, it just takes off and flies away. He literally says, I can't deal with this, and just walks away. As Feng looks on in confusion, Doga is losing her mind. Was he the hidden boss? How did he know? The system explains this is an S-rank first-class change quest. Defeat the 6-winged secret angel boss. Feng says who could handle an S-rank right after their first-class change. Meanwhile, the boss flies away for his life. Inside, he's crying. This is my turf, but do I still have to run away? Right then, the sky goes wild with lightning and thunder. Feng decides he can't bother playing cat and mouse with the angel and raises his hand. A giant eye in the sky is calling. And it brings down a massive lightning storm. The lightning instantly destroys the 6-winged angel. Feng's lightning strike was so ridiculously powerful. Not only did he kill the boss, he literally wiped half the temple off the map. Dogen stood there with his jaw dropped, thinking to himself. I've never seen such destructive magic in my life. This guy is definitely stronger than my master. Fearing that Feng might be one of those 8 legendary warriors. By the way, our boy isn't very happy. because he can't level up until he completes his first transformation. So he's literally throwing his experience points away right now. At least he grabbed the Holy Emblem, a legendary item that permanently boosts spirit attributes and healing effects by 100%. Just as Fong takes out the teleportation scroll to return, Dogen comes running in. Wait, don't go. As Fong turns around with a serious look, Dogen is scared to death. He's wondering why this guy is looking so stern. Please don't kill me. But just then, an alarm starts ringing. And they both decide to get out of there first. When they get outside, Fong keeps asking Fong Dogen if she's following him. Dogen apologizes and explains that he just wants to confirm one thing. He also adds that Fong looks so young, he wasn't sure about what he saw. Then he starts telling his life story. His master was powerful, but had to sacrifice his life to seal a corruption temporarily. The traitor escaped and has been sacrificing people since then to break the seal. Fong realizes she is at the 4th level of transformation. And if the man hadn't revealed himself, Fong would have never noticed him. But the level is still too low, and it's only a matter of time before it's noticed. Dogen is breaking into a cold sweat. Since Fong went quiet, he's probably thinking he's planning how to kill him or something. He thanks Fong for avenging his master, and says he should call if he needs anything. Fong, however, thinks this man isn't weak and is a lone wolf. So, building a good relationship might come in handy later. Fong asks him not to tell anyone what happened during the mission because he prefers to keep things quiet. Dogen promises to keep his mouth shut, thinking of this mysterious figure with incredibly dark magic. Someone who doesn't hurt the innocent and saves the whole city. Someone both powerful and discreet deserves respect. Then Feng's phone rings. It's Professor Chi calling. He's asking where you are. He says he was out of town but he's back. She says she has a few things to ask when the woman returns. Feng can't understand why the woman is calling out of the blue. The scene shifts to Jing and Sheen's conversation. He says a student who awakened just a few days ago suddenly reached the first transformation. And if it hadn't been researched, this might have gone unnoticed. She trusts that Feng is a good person. But Jing says some things need to be cleared up. Then we see that tense meeting scene. Jing is asking, was the destruction magic in the city cast by the mutants? An old man implies that the woman is a mutant herself, so why is she asking? It explains that mutants use the power of darkness but pay a price. The stronger they are, the greater the price. They could lose their lives, lose their minds, or turn into monsters. A king-level mutant is supposed to be impossible. Some spiky-haired guy's mocking the woman, saying she's lost her mind. If there really is a king-level mutant, he should chop off his own head and let her kick it around like a soccer ball. The old man says they'll send a research team to the city, but they won't approve reinforcements from the shadow alone. Jing gets angry and asks, "You don't trust me, do you?" Then his assistant bursts in with urgent news. The Temple of Light in Longbow was hit by destruction spells, and there are casualties. The woman is worried because Fang's training record was there. Jing grins and says, "This guy just got a whole lot more interesting." Meanwhile, in the city of Longbow, they have opened their fancy shields. While folks are panicking, the guards put on their best customer service voices to try and calm everyone down. The shield works like a charm and will keep the darkness out. Fang is sweating bullets because his little temple demolition project set off alarms across the whole city. He hopes they'll ease up on the paranoia so he can go home and act like none of this ever happened. But the universe has other plans. A black crack opens on the shield, and a demonic face appears. Demons are starting to pour out, and one asks if this is the human world. While looking at the giant shield, another demon has already figured out how fragile humans are and realized they love to hide behind those magical security blankets. The Horn leader points dramatically and orders his crew to give the people a surprise. They're attacking, and the shield starts to crack as the demons break in. The city guards are standing there, paralyzed, with only one question on their minds. When did our expensive magical defense system turn into a decorative ornament anyway? The crowd panics and starts trampling each other, just like humans do. Duan is ready for action, telling Fanga this looks like another high-level kingdom invasion. Fang asks if it's like the Suqing scandal last night. When Fang asks what they should do, Duan thinks to himself, This guy can probably handle everything alone, so why is he even asking me? It's definitely a test. Duan Fang says enjoy yourself, I'll take care of it. Fang thinks it might be best to stay out of this with so many civilians around. The horned demon lands with that villainous laugh. The soldiers do their best, but their arrows just keep bouncing off. When a brave warrior jumps on its back, the demon hits him so hard, the poor guy probably won't land until next week. Now, as the demon approaches the terrified little girl, he starts rambling about how disappointing humans are. He's ready to add child killer to his resume. But Duan blocks the attack to buy time for the kid to escape, leaving the demon in a state of serious, angry confusion. The demon is furious someone ruined his massacre, but Duan just smiles wickedly and tells Fang not to worry. Then Duan pummels the demon so hard that the viewers are amazed, saying the guy must be from some super rare 5-star hidden class. As the demon explodes behind him, Duan calmly walks away, revealing himself as a level 137 legendary martial artist. Fang thinks to himself that this Duan is quite incredible. There was definitely something special about that guy. After Duan finished off the monster leader, all the remaining creatures began retreating toward the rift. Soldiers are shouting. Now's the chance. Counterattack. He goes to Duan Fang and asks if there's anything else he can do. Our boy gives him a big thumbs up and tells him everything's okay. And he's praising the great work he's done. People watching from afar are thinking to themselves, since Duan showed him respect, this Fang guy must be a big shot. Duan is delivering the drops from the boss fight. Fang is loving it because these are legendary quality. Even if he can't use them, he can sell tens of thousands of crystals on the market. People start shouting. They're asking if they need anything. They're offering to help in any way they can. Fang thinks the agility skill book is perfect for Wang Yu and he can sell the black shield later. Then a priest and a warrior approach them. And someone starts thanking them for saving the city. The man introduces himself as Mu Dongming, the mayor of Longbo. And since they look lost, he's asking if they're from around here. Fang says they just came to handle some business, but they're temporarily stuck here. The president starts breaking a sweat under Fang's piercing gaze. And he immediately goes into damage control, bowing and scraping as if he'd summoned the demons himself. Fang is trying to calm the man down. They say it's not your fault. It was actually his own fault. The leader turns and asks someone to bring the flight scroll he just bought. He's going to give it to them as compensation. Fang is surprised. Because flight scrolls are rare items, especially in a small city like Longbo. It allows for quick long-distance travel, even if it's single-use. Taking this opportunity, the president shyly makes a request. Lately, things haven't been so peaceful out there, so they're asking if they can stay in Longbo a bit longer. Because the city's defenses were weak. But Fang puts his hand to his head, saying he regrets it and that he's out of time. Fang thinks the class change quest has a 3-day time limit. If they linger here, he'll never be able to complete his first transformation. But seeing that devastating look in our lead's eyes, the president says it's okay, let's leave it for another time. One of the president's guards turns and says the parchment is ready. President Fang states that this is the Yuan Chong Guild's exalted black card, a mere token of gratitude and respect. Fang is impressed because these cards are only given to about 10 or 12 people. They accept the gift and say thank you. The chairman hopes he can ask for your help if Longbo is ever in danger. Fang says he'll come help as long as he has time. Then they immediately use the scroll and fly away. Meanwhile, back in Jinyu City, Wenyan's guildmates are chatting after leaving the job change room. The girl notices 2 people flying overhead and thinks one might be Fang. Zhao laughs it off. How can a loser who just woke up afford a flight scroll worth thousands? The girl turns around with a murderous glint in her eyes, warning him that if he keeps talking trash about Fang, it won't end well for him. She's trying to change the subject and asking about her duties. Zhao says he could only get an A class, not that gold level S class everyone wants. It all strokes Zhao's ego. Since she finished her second transformation at 18, they say she's perfect university material. When asked about her mission, Wenjia stays silent, and everyone thinks she messed up. While wondering if the berserker only got a C rank, Xiao thinks to himself that even the golden girl has her bad days. Then he says everyone got an S class. The moment she says this, she freezes up too. Everyone is staring at her. Zhao's asking why you're silent. That Wingyu's situation is different. Because the mission explains that he's unlocked a secret class he's never even heard of. Shocked, Zhao wonders how this could be possible. Because classes are usually determined during the awakening. He's never heard of unlocking a hidden class during a class change and thinks Wingyu must be mistaken. But Wingyu starts to remember the moment in the class change area. The system told him that class progression was detected. He has the Vanguard emblem, the key item to upgrade the original Swift Archer class to Vanguard's Shadow, and the class change quest will also change. Then a system window popped up and asked if he wanted to change his class. Confused, the girl thinks this emblem is a gift from Fang Tan. Looking back, she remembers how confident Fang was when he gave it to her. He wonders if she knew the power of the object from the very beginning. He accepted the task right away and thanked her silently for the gift. After hearing about the mission selection, Zhao is upset that the girl acted so hastily. Zhao starts shouting. Shadow of the Vanguard? He's never even heard of it. Maybe he's implying the class change system is broken. If he made the wrong choice, his whole life could go dark. The wild warrior says she's jealous. How can someone have a 5-star hidden profession and still keep leveling up like this? He says he wishes he had a childhood friend like Fang. Hearing all this, Zhao is furious. No matter the cost or danger, he thinks he must send someone to find an emblem for himself. Meanwhile, Fang grabs his secret emblem. This emblem permanently grants him 5 extra lives and spirit attribute points. Laughing, he says not only have his stats significantly increased, but he's also gained new passive skills. While he wonders how far he can push his control over forbidden spells, the system tells him he's gained a passive skill. His control over the dark power has grown immensely, allowing him to master forbidden spells with precision. While Dogen is still waiting outside, Jing arrives. The woman looks at him and thinks, wow, this kid is young, but he already has a terrifying power. He could even compete at the national level, and every time the team sees him, they walk a step behind Fang. Mumbling to Jing Cha, he says Fang's student isn't someone to be pushed around like that. Then he waves his hand and says whatever, let the tea handle this mess. The woman nods and says she will talk to Fang. Deep down, he's as sure as his own name that he could never be his enemy. Meanwhile, Fang and Dogen are chatting as they walk. When the woman calls out, Fang asks if she wants to talk. The woman says yes. Fang flinches when Dogen calls him boss. The teacher looks confused. And Fang immediately jumps in, saying, never mind, Dogen's just joking. Ji suddenly asks Fang if he has completed his first transformation. Fang freezes in his tracks. He didn't plan on hiding forever. But he didn't expect it to be this quick. Still, he trusts the woman more than most. So he accepts and says he only wants a few people to know. The woman immediately fires off another question, asking if the dark power had touched him. Fang is about to swallow his tongue. He wonders how the woman guessed. But the woman explains that the world has changed. Hidden realms are leaking into reality. And people are mutating. Fang says she's fine, she's not a mutant, and she has no intention of joining that club. The woman takes out a crystal detector. It wants an energy charge to control the darkness levels. He touches the crystal and the damn thing explodes as soon as he does. The woman starts to tremble. He remembers his conversation with Jing. According to Jing, this is a black crystal that's hypersensitive to dark energy and often used by the government to detect mutants. The crystal vibrates when dark power is present. The stronger the vibrations, the greater the amount of dark energy. Looking at the shattered crystal in her hand, the woman wonders what its explosion means. Fang starts explaining how crazy it is to awaken and change classes immediately. But by playing the "You've known me forever" card, she wants Chi to believe she hasn't completely lost it. The woman is sitting there. They think this boy lost his family at a young age, woke up later than everyone else, and somehow still maintains his optimism. He explains that personally he trusts her, but due to procedure, he has to report to his superiors. Fang understands the situation. But at the same time, even though she says she trusts him, she thinks she has no idea how the authorities will react to his situation. The best option is to get out of Qingda City as soon as possible. She takes out a glowing object. Fang is asking what this is. The woman explains it's a congratulatory gift, because he successfully completed his first class change. Fang gratefully accepts the gift and thanks him for looking out for her all these years. But Fang has a gift of his own. Extracting holy wings of legendary quality. This is a divine item that gives plus 20 spirit points, 50% better healing and 100% darkness resistance. Even the effect of not requiring an incantation can save lives in critical moments. Qin's jaw drops because this thing is incredibly valuable. But Fang insists it's just random loot from the class change quest and tells him to accept it without hesitation. After giving it, Fang says a friend is waiting and takes off. The teacher just stands there, staring after him. He's probably trying to figure out what just happened. She goes to the adventurer inspector's office to report everything. After explaining the whole situation, Jean looks at Crystal and says he has never seen anything like this before. When asked if the higher-ups would see Fang as a threat, Jean just shrugs and tells him to drop the subject entirely. The woman is confused and asks what he means. Jing is showing off her expertise. This kid is probably beyond our understanding. And if he's truly powerful, they should hire him instead of researching and annoying him for no reason. When asked about reporting it, Jing says absolutely not. Stop the investigation immediately, and keep everything confidential. Meanwhile, at Fang's house, the newborn boss is looking depressed. Fang is slumped on the couch, explaining the teacher texted that the investigation was cancelled. When Duan asks if this is good news, Fang is worried about their future training. Because whenever he destroys an area, it draws too much attention. Duan thinks being a great leader comes with problems. Ordinary people can't even imagine it. Then he gets an idea. How about training in some unregistered areas? Fang cheers up right away. Duan explains that as the world changes, new fields are emerging everywhere. Some are stray because of a lack of resources. Others have been occupied by evil forces. Fang is getting excited, and Duan asks if there's any intelligence regarding these areas. Duan confirms he has information about these too. He can find more if necessary. So our boy is thinking of acting like a regular person, which is much better than playing student. He takes his grand black card and plans to sell his loot. Later that night, Duan rushes back to the hotel. She thinks he spent too much time at Fang's house. And since he doesn't have time to find another place to sleep, he decides to stay there one more night. He is greeted by a man in a suit as he walks in. The man introduces himself as James Key, the mayor of Chengdu City. The mayor thanks him for his help during the area invasion, and asks if Duan is interested in living in Qingdao permanently. Duan says yes, he's been thinking about this lately. The mayor isn't wasting a single second. She hands him a special adventurer certificate with high privileges. He makes it clear that if she needs anything in the future, she just needs to let them know, and they'll do their best. He's thinking about how lucky he is, because he knows other cities tried to hire Duan before, but were rejected. Chengdu City is small, so he hopes Dua won't underestimate this place. Duan accepts the certificate. He thinks Fang might find this useful later. The pleased mayor imagines that having a power center at the 4th transformation level makes the city much safer. Sucking up to you, he's asking if you're looking for a place to stay. If he's looking, he'll set one up right away. Meanwhile, our boy is crushing the game late at night. Checking the class group chat, she sees the messages are still pouring in. Classmates are stressing about awakening at 16 and hitting the cultivation levels needed for college entrance exams. By the way, our boy has already surpassed them all. They're starting to mention your name, saying you're just playing games. Probably one of those Miss Vank fans stalking her social media. Teacher Chi steps in and tells everyone to mind their own business. But then people start talking about secret realm invasions, and everyone gets paranoid. Vank remembers what Master Chi and Dua said about the world changing, and the time he fought those invading monsters, some of which escaped into the distortion world. Meanwhile, a boss sneezes out of nowhere. You have a strange feeling inside. The next day at the Chung Trade Center, Shin's back at work after being trashed by the warp monsters. Her colleagues are like, "Girl, why are you still here? You look like you just got beat up." But Shin is trying to act tough. Then she starts spreading rumors that her colleague Fong is a reckless thief. He asks who messed with this big shot, and Shin starts defending him. The other girl says that Mr. Wen is investigating Feng's past. And he learned that his parents had died young. He was just an 18-year-old nobody with a one-star job. So he's flat broke. There's no way he could afford high-end items. If he's not a thief, what else could he be? Right then, Fong steps in and creates a stone spike right in front of that gossip, knocking her flat on her butt. Ours is apologizing. But he says the girl was so arrogant, she almost made him lose control. The wife's losing it, calling the guards because apparently using magic inside the exchange is forbidden. Shin is trying to get him out of there because the stock market has too much influence, and ordinary people can't afford to anger them. But Fong doesn't even care. The guards are pouring in. Chief Wang asks how this nobody dares to show his face. Wang says they're investigating whether he's a thief. And since she has no right to ask questions, he orders the guards to pack her up. That's the moment Fong snaps out that Black Supreme card. He asks if this is how they treat customers. Everyone's frozen, in total shock. They're wondering how a nobody like Fong got that card. One assumes the card is fake. Because there's no way this penniless brat could get his hands on something so rare. Our boy holds up the card and says since they're so good at researching, they should research this too. A crowd gathers outside as one calls to verify. He calls the municipality and asks if anyone has looked into the card he gave to Dao Ming Fong. One starts breaking out in a sweat. That this is a misunderstanding. Because he's trying to explain that the president's father was one of the stock exchange founders. Dao Ming starts shouting. What misunderstanding, damn it? He asks. He says Fong is someone important. Wenjin asks if he made Fenji angry. One is panicking and saying no. He says he'll fix everything. The president is furious, punching the tables. Wenjin suspects he upset Fenji and says he'll be right there. One hangs up the phone crying. This phone guy is wondering how you met Dao Ming and what's going on between you two. But then he gets the idea to call Duan because they found the fighter set. Duan thinks if it comes to a confrontation, even Dao Ming will have to respect him. Meanwhile, Fong is hanging out with Shin in the waiting room. Then suddenly, the president and Duan come rushing in. Shin is in shock because apparently these big shots know our boy. Both of them are very angry and are glaring at that gossiping creature. Now that bitch is shaking with fear and asking why they're looking at her like that. He turns around, sees Wenjin is completely exhausted, and asks what happened. But all the man can say is that everything's over. Dao Ming Fong asks if they should apologize, but our boy says it's not necessary. Because they won't be sincere anyway and can't make up for it. He points at Chairman Wang and his colleague and tells them to get out immediately. Wang slaps the woman and says it's all her fault. This makes Dao Ming even angrier, and he has the guards throw them out. They head to the VIP room where Shernine serves tea. The president is watching the girl. Fenjin is relieved to see he has good taste. Because they didn't completely ruin the trade exchange's reputation. It's amazing how Shin Fong manages to make small talk with such prominent people. Like it's nothing at all. Dao Ming, Shine says he was wronged and that the exchange will compensate him for his hard work. The girl is shy but grateful. Fong apologizes for making the president travel from so far away. Dao Ming says Feng's problems are her own problems. Without him, Longku City could have been left defenseless. Then Dao Ming, noticing Fong looking at the rare items, asks if he needs anything. Fong is laughing. And he's asking if you've heard of something called the Heirloom of the End. Both Dao Ming and Duan are surprised and curious. Fong is acting like it's no big deal. He says he saw someone mention it online and thought it might be interesting. We're making a comeback to Fenj. He's using the skill book he got from his master. Mages used it to temporarily restore mana during battle. He learns the book and receives a system notification about a passive skill. It's called the Dark Fusion. It absorbs the dark energy from the relics of the End and converts it into its own. But our boy has never heard of this souvenir before, and the system won't explain what it is. Tired and sleepy, he decides to deal with it later. Back to today, Dao Ming says he left in a hurry last time and invites them to Longku City, covering all the expenses. He grabs a flying scroll and takes off. While they watch the man fly away, Dogen invites Fong to his house for dinner. Fong is shocked by the size of the house. They're asking if the mayor actually paid for this. Dogen explains that in Chengdu, Everyone above the 4th level of transformation receives special treatment. And asks if Fong wants to move there. Our boy says he'll make money and buy his own place, and they'll be neighbors soon. Dogen offers to lend him money, but Fong refuses, thinking of all the crystals he made from selling the equipment. Even so, he realizes that if he buys a house now, he'll have fewer crystals left for later. So he decides to wait. While they sip their tea, Dogen receives a call from the mayor of Chengdu. Turns out an investigation team arrived from above to look into the recent disasters. And they were asking Dogen for information. Dogen is worried this might affect Fong, so he's telling the president he's busy today. Fong is asking what the investigation team is, because he's never heard it before. Meanwhile, elsewhere, this weird guy shows up, says the city is strange. Because they're talking about a mysterious, big boss. The scene moves to the meeting room. While all those big shots are trying to figure out who this mysterious boss is, Jing just plays dumb and gets away with it. But that big guy from earlier is starting to get suspicious. She's asking why rumors started about this boss saving the city. It explains that the secret area invasions in Jing suddenly stopped and all mutants were eliminated. If you asked me, this whole thing sounds pretty suspicious. But our big guy's not buying it, of course. He says this whole thing is nonsense. They said they can't act on assumptions without a proper investigation. He mentioned another incident with 2 king-level attacks and wants to know exactly what this mysterious boss is doing. Meanwhile, she's literally breaking into a cold sweat. He thinks that because he used his power to protect Jin Jinfang and change all the info about her, everything is now blowing up in his face. Mayor Kan bursts in with his crew, saying he's looking for Duan, but the guy is too busy to join the meeting. That scumbag is literally losing his mind. Slamming his hands on the table, he yells about how much he hates these stray adventurers acting like they own the world just because there's no guild to oversee them, then heads straight to the secret area after the meeting. The guards let him pass without any trouble, saying they feel much safer when he's around. Poor things don't even realize they've let a psychopath into the restricted zone. Once inside, the guy examines all those dark energy traces, impressed by the scale of destruction, wondering what kind of power could level a secret area like this. It gets excited seeing those remnants of pure and powerful dark energy in the environment. It's said that next to this power, even that mysterious big boss would look like an ant next to an elephant. Then this maniac raises his hand and summons an ominous demon right in front of him, as if he's controlling it. Laughing, he says it's king level and filled with the immense power he always wanted. Yeah, this guy is definitely the villain of the story, guys, that's for sure. Meanwhile, Funk is still at Doga's house, busy playing his game and complaining about the system. Then, a notification suddenly pops up saying that the Doomsday Relic has been found. He is surprised and realizes something is connecting with him through an aura. If he focuses, he can pinpoint the exact location. Funk grabs his t-shirt, tells Dogen he's going out for a while, and asks him to finish his game. He hails a cab, checks the GPS, and realizes the energy is coming from near the cemetery. Thanks to the connection between them, it realizes that whatever that thing is, it's moving. At the cemetery entrance, guards notice a demon emerging from the portal and radio their superiors about an unidentified monster. Trembling, they ask what on earth that thing is. Guys, that idiot literally went and merged himself with the monster. They're calling for help because they can't move due to the monster alarm. They're putting up roadblocks to prevent accidents. The guards are stopping everyone because there's danger ahead. The taxi driver says they won't be able to pass the barricade. Our boy pays up, says it's all good, and gets out of the car. It notices that thing is moving away temporarily. He probably felt it coming. Then Jing appears with Professor Chi and someone else, and they charge toward the monster. But they stand in horror, trying to understand what's going on. After the battle at the ominous cemetery, Jing Han lies bloodied in Chi's arms as she tries to heal her. He can barely speak because of his wounds. Professor Chi thinks Fang's gear reduces support spell cooldowns, but the situation is still critical. Because even someone as strong as Jing couldn't stop this creature. Jing asks, trembling, where the creature went. She says the creature is heading downtown and Mayor Zhang called for help, but he doesn't know how long it will take. Jing realizes that the prayer is almost as powerful as he is, so he can't defeat this thing on his own. As the creature tears the city apart, Fawn arrives on the scene and looks absolutely livid. He sees the relic of doom has grown fully, and that demon-like creature is staring at him like a wild beast. Fawn wonders if he needs more forbidden spells to take it down, but the creature lunges at his head with all its might without waiting. Our boy stands still until the very last second, then uses his dark shield to block the attack. The creature is confused, wondering how this is possible and where Fawn found this incredible power. Right then, the system activates and asks if you want to absorb the Doomsday Relic. Fawn doesn't hesitate. He needs close physical contact, so he releases a terrifying power at the creature, pulling it in as it screams. With this process, he obtains memory fragments and earns a total of 100 attribute points. Fawn is satisfied, because even 3-star classes don't get this many skill points leveling from 0 to the 3rd transformation. But he's a bit worried because he absorbed some extra things and is seeing weird images in his head. Just then, Duan shows up and asks what's going on. With a very relaxed attitude, Fawn points to the monster and says it suddenly appeared, so he finished it off right away. When Duan sees Banji lying unconscious on the ground, he realizes Fawn has taken him out too. With the place turning into a battlefield, he's confused and thinks they might be evil cult members. But he can't explain that strange energy around them, because it looks nothing like magic damage. Since Fawn arrived just in time, he tells him to handle the cleaning and pats Duan on the shoulder. Then he flies off at full speed, leaving Duan behind, stunned by his velocity. He wonders if he's really a mage since the man's speed exceeds many combat classes. Later, in Tianju prison, Banji is thrown into a cell after admitting he tried to control the creature. He explains that Jingo discovered this creature in a secret dimension and managed to control its dark power for his own benefit. Dark power was injected into the secret dimension during the investigation, but the creature grew out of control. The mayor is pleased, saying it's great to have this mysterious big boss ensuring the city's safety. Jing and Professor Chi are smiling because their students are doing a great job. The mayor asks if Duan has met this big boss. Duan, I swear, leaves those two beauties in awe by saying he had the chance to meet him once. President Zhang, Duan is asking for a favor. If this mysterious big boss agrees to settle in Xinyu City for good, they won't say no to any of his requests. Duan says the big boss dislikes the spotlight and stays hidden, so they'd better forget about that dream. Duan, meanwhile, feels smug thinking about how he effortlessly pinned everything on this mysterious boss who doesn't even exist. With no evidence around, they can't investigate for Jack. The president's face sinks. He says it's a pity, because everyone's crazy for powerful types like the big boss. Duan lies to them, saying the mysterious boss is Chen Yuta's relative and will look out for this place, but in return, he wants no headaches. It piques Jing's interest, but finally he catches on. Professor Chi keeps wondering if this big boss is actually related to our Feng by blood. Back to Feng, while he's relaxing in the tub, he's thinking that last relic is actually the remains of demon kings who bit the dust in hidden dimensions. Those strange hallucinations he just saw were memory fragments left in the relic by the demon kings while they were alive. Of course, he doesn't have a fantasy of becoming a new demon king himself, so he's wondering, what use are these parts to me then? Then it clicks, something useful might actually come from all this accumulation of dark power. Hidden dimensions enter periods of power bursts. If the occupied time and space can't handle this burden, it'll turn into a wildfire and chaos will break out. In their current world, the awakening system isn't well established yet. Only a few people have reached level 4, and the professions aren't fully developed yet. The signals from the Demon King's memory are a bad omen. If things keep going this way, humanity's funeral prayer will be read, mark my words.